Welcome to the Tim Booker channel, where wisdom is worth spreading. Wishing you an enjoyable listening experience. Today, we will decipher the era of post-truth. Post-truth became a buzzword in 2016, referring to a situation where the emotions and personal beliefs of the host have a greater impact on public opinion than the objective facts stated. In simpler terms, people prioritize emotions over facts. The title of the book we're discussing is How the Many Sides to Every Story Shape Our Reality. It primarily explores how truth is manipulated and used. How should we perceive, listen, and think when truth is distorted? We've grown accustomed to using social media as a source of information. Have you noticed that some events often undergo multiple reversals? For instance, a victim shares their ordeal, and the public responds with anger and sympathy. Based on the victim's provided information, opinions are formed, condemning the perpetrator and sometimes even resorting to online violence. However, before long, the perpetrator presents evidence suggesting that the victim deliberately misled the public and that they are, in fact, the victim. In this cycle of reversals, the public is either deceived by misinformation or exploited by either side. Some suggest that the best time to comment on an event is after 3 reversals. When faced with similar events, people discuss and debate to determine which side is lying. But in reality, the protagonist of the story often doesn't need to lie. The book quotes a BBC broadcaster who has interviewed many individuals who have misled the public. He notes that lying is often unnecessary. Deception can be achieved effectively without lying, by using truth. This might seem counterintuitive, but the truth doesn't always neatly align with facts. It doesn't necessarily lead to a clear resolution or reveal who is misappropriating what. In this context, truth is competitive truth, a term introduced by the book. While the term might be new, the concept is familiar. When describing a person or thing, we can usually find multiple perspectives, some of which might contradict each other. For example, regarding the Internet, there are 2 common descriptions, one emphasizing its role in expanding global knowledge dissemination, and the other highlighting its acceleration of false information and hate. Both perspectives hold some truth for us, but for someone unfamiliar with the Internet, the first perspective they encounter becomes their truth. In essence, if someone only presents one dimension when describing a person or thing, that's competitive truth. So, why can competitive truth mislead the masses? How do people utilize it, and are there positive ways to do so? Today, this book will address these questions. The author of this book is Hector MacDonald, a renowned business consultant who provides services to top-tier companies. He discovered that some individuals use competitive truth to deceive the public, they are the misleaders. Others, with good intentions, use competitive truth to achieve legitimate goals, they are the advocates. In this book, the author provides numerous insights into the world of competitive truth, detailing the tactics of misleaders and guiding us to recognize deception and become advocates. Today's discussion is divided into 3 parts. 1. Why competitive truth can mislead the masses. 2. Common tactics employed by misleaders. 3. How to avoid being misled by competitive truth and how to use it positively and responsibly. Alright, let's first explore why competitive truth can mislead the masses. This leads us to the main theme the author aims to convey in the book, that there are often multiple authentic ways to present a single matter. We've all had similar experiences in life where both sides of a situation believe their approach is correct, leading to a lack of consensus. Why did the author become interested in this topic? It stems from a personal experience where he discovered the diversity of truth and its close connection to each individual. Whether willingly or not, people are influenced by competitive truth. Let's delve into what he experienced. Once, a global company faced a dilemma and an opportunity simultaneously. To continue, the company needed to undergo a challenging and painful transformation, requiring employee support. The company sought the author's assistance to explain this plan to the employees. Upon examining the facts, the author realized that, based on the same set of facts, 2 different versions of the story could be told. The first, an exciting tale called Golden Opportunity, emphasized that if every employee supported the transformation plan, the company could seize the new opportunity, satisfy market demands, and create a prosperous future. The second version, Burning Platform, portrayed recent failures leading to deep-rooted issues. If left unchecked, the company would be destroyed. To avoid this, every employee had to support the transformation plan. From the company's standpoint, both versions aimed at gaining employee support, yet employees might perceive the version they hear as the sole truth. This would influence their impressions of the company's future. Golden opportunity would excite employees, while burning platform might cause anxiety. These attitudes and emotions would shape their subsequent choices and actions. The company eventually chose one version, although the book doesn't specify which. Some might think that a corporate transformation is inherently complex, leading to competitive truth. However, even for simple matters, it's not so straightforward. Consider something witnessed firsthand. It might seem undeniable, but even visual perception isn't absolute due to individual differences. Take the dress color illusion a few years back. Some saw blue-black, others white-gold. People are susceptible to being misled by competitive truth due to reasons such as seeing a single perspective as the whole truth. Aside from hardware differences, like visual perception, we have software differences, personal viewpoints. These perspectives, shaped by unique experiences, differ among individuals. Our understanding of the world and ordinary matters can be discordant. Even for a simple object, like a piece of wood, different people have varying perceptions based on their viewpoints. Individual viewpoints are easily influenced and can distort. Many factors impact these viewpoints, both positively, love and tolerance, and negatively, power and self-interest. Consider Akira Kurosawa's film Rashomon, where witnesses to a crime provide three different versions of events to protect their interests, highlighting how even honest intentions can result in skewed expressions. Our communication, even when honest and well-intentioned, remains one-sided. We can only extract a portion from the truth to share, as Roman philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "What we hear is an opinion, not a fact. What we see is a perspective, not the truth." Personal experiences shape our interpretations, often limiting us to fragments of the whole truth. Why does this happen? Because reality is incredibly complex. We're forced to do this, whether it's discussing what a pile of wood represents or deciding whether self-driving cars can hit the road. They're all intricate topics. To comprehend things and communicate with each other, we must choose one or a few dimensions of competitive truth to elaborate on a topic. In essence, competitive truth serves as a coping mechanism for dealing with complexity, where every individual's perspective is treated as the truth. This can easily lead to deception. As you've been listening, you might already be recalling instances when competitive truth led you astray. You might also be concerned about avoiding deception intentionally caused by others. Let's delve into the deceptive tactics summarized by the author. The author categorizes competitive truth into 4 types and analyzes the deceptive tactics associated with each. These 4 types are: 1. Selective truth. Each person selects certain truths when communicating. These truths are genuine but incomplete. 2. Subjective truth. People derive truths from their own perceptions and judgments. These truths are subjective and malleable. 3. Fabricated truth. People create these truths from scratch, like renaming something or altering the meaning of a word. 4. Unknown truth. These truths represent what someone believes is most likely to happen in the future. They're not yet reality, but the person believes they will become reality. You might be feeling a bit overwhelmed by now. Don't worry. These 4 types of competitive truth actually follow a hidden logic. Artificial traces become more prominent. If someone tells you something and provides many details, redefines the matter, and boldly predicts outcomes, you're likely to perceive it as a one-sided account. Fabricated and unknown truths with heavy artificial traces are more easily recognizable. Surprisingly, selective and subjective truths are trickier to spot, making us more susceptible to deception. Now, let's explore how deceivers use selective and subjective truths with 2 examples. When using selective truth, deceivers often neglect context. Background context is crucial for understanding matters. Emphasis or downplay of context can change the meaning of something. An example involves a controversial photo of a conference. The photo was unremarkable, a group picture of attendees. However, it featured a banner reading 2014 Global Women's Summit with elderly white men in dark suits. This went viral on social media, leading to mockery and protests. The person who uploaded the photo added, "A picture is worth 1,000 words." Many angry men and women joined in. The author, after seeing this photo, was suspicious due to recognizing someone in it who believed in gender equality. Investigating the conference's background revealed it was indeed organized by a global women's group, featuring mostly female speakers and attendees. To show male support for women, a male group was included, with CEOs invited to participate. These CEOs were the elderly white men in the photo. Neglecting background context transformed supportive men into arrogant male activists, mocked and rebuked. This happened because the causal chain broke without context, allowing people to fill in the blanks themselves based on photo information alone. This example showcases how competitive truth can significantly impact our thoughts and behavior. The truth we perceive influences our thought patterns, ultimately determining our choices and actions. When deceivers employ subjective truth, they often manipulate our subjective valuations of matters. Subjective valuation refers to our varying degrees of affection and financial value for something. At an auction, different bidders may assign different valuations to the same artwork. The book presents an example where merchants altered our subjective valuation of a stone. This stone is a diamond. Microscopic diamonds are not only valuable but also tokens of love. However, this worth and meaning weren't inherent since ancient times, they were attributed in the 20th century. Before the 20th century, diamonds were rare for ordinary people to see, only a few wealthy individuals would possess them. Before World War II, Western commoners lacked a practical need for diamonds and wouldn't readily invest substantial amounts. But today, the author reveals that 3/4 of American brides receive diamond engagement rings. The price of these rings remains stable, and few people sell them. What happened during this period? Enter an Englishman named Cecil Rhodes and his company, De Beers. In short, massive quantities of diamonds were unearthed in South Africa. After diamond prices plummeted, Cecil and De Beers monopolized the South African diamond market. To prevent prices from falling further, they controlled any new diamond discovery and manufactured an illusion of diamond scarcity. Over the ensuing decades, De Beers set the market price for diamonds. The challenge arose when they accumulated an excess of unsold diamonds. Their solution? Convince numerous ordinary individuals to purchase these small stones at high prices and discourage them from reselling. Selling too many diamonds on the secondary market would lower overall prices. Despite the seeming impossibility, De Beers achieved this by altering people's subjective valuation of diamonds using subjective truth. In 1938, De Beers partnered with N.W. Ayer & Son, a New York advertising agency, to boost the demand for diamonds through publicity. This agency suggested linking diamonds to love to expand demand. Purchasing engagement rings became a psychological need for anyone making marital commitments. Evaluation of a suitor's sincerity involved considering diamond size and quality as qualities of merit. High school girls were exposed to this idea through lectures, assemblies, and other means, imprinting the notion of an engagement ring in their minds before marriage. Following this, a powerful campaign linked big diamonds with true love through magazines, movies, and full-color advertisements. To alter men's subjective valuation of diamonds, they even coined the famous phrase, "A diamond is forever," hinting that selling a diamond would disrespect love. This campaign quickly bore fruit. By the late 1950s, the J. Walter Thompson Advertising Agency stated that in that generation, almost everyone believed an engagement ring was essential for proposing. It's a successful marketing story. What's interesting is that they didn't create a brand. Their campaign barely featured the De Beers logo. They altered not how people subjectively valued De Beers but how they subjectively valued diamonds. Upon reading this story, I was inspired. Ad agencies, marketers, and salespeople all essentially engage in a common task, altering our subjective valuation of something to encourage us to spend more. This might make you think that anyone taking money out of our wallets is an expert at this. They use competitive truth to manipulate us skillfully. How can we see through this and avoid being misled by competitive truth? The answer is both simple and complex. It's simple because the most effective tool against deceptive truth is understanding the limitations of individual perspectives. Seek a more comprehensive truth than your own and ask questions. Is the narrative I'm hearing accurate? Will it change my view and behavior? Does the storyteller have a motive? Can the same facts or data be presented differently, altering the meaning? Does this approach alter the significance? However, it's complex since competitive truth is intertwined with our lives. It's often a necessity when expressing ourselves, so using it can be involuntary. To combat this, make seeking a more comprehensive perspective a lifestyle and a reflex. Beyond merely seeing through competitive truth, use it to further your legitimate goals. Competitive truth is a tool that some can misuse to manipulate, leading people with truth-like eloquence. We can use competitive truth to engage others in your objectives, motivating action. However, before utilizing this tool, the author emphasizes 3 usage standards. 1. It must be factually correct. 2. It should aim for constructive results supported by the public. 3. It shouldn't lead the audience to harm themselves. Alright, next we'll discuss how to actively and responsibly use competitive truth. We already know that competitive truth can greatly influence people's choices and behaviors. If you want to persuade others and change their behavior, what can you do? One approach is to constructively borrow tactics from deceivers. In the previous section, we introduced 2 common tricks deceivers use: ignoring context and altering people's subjective valuation. These are methods that the author frequently employs when offering consulting services. Next, let's examine a case to see how the author does this. Kayamoto is a historic royal botanic garden in the UK, responsible for researching and preserving plants and fungi. For a long time, Kayamoto required government funding, approximately £20 million per year. In 2015, they faced a funding shortage, exacerbated by the UK government's plan to reduce support. The situation was dire, and Kayamoto needed a reason for the government to continue providing assistance. The garden's director, Richard, sought the help of the author to design a new narrative. Normally, Richard would tell Kayamoto's story by starting with its history, emphasizing the past. However, in the author's view, while Kayamoto's historical significance was true, it wasn't a story that would secure government funding. British politicians and officials already considered Kayamoto as a historical legacy. This story would merely reinforce their existing judgment and wouldn't change their subjective valuation of Kayamoto. So, how did the author design the new narrative? They first used the trick of ignoring context. The story they designed didn't even mention Kayamoto initially. Instead, it began with the challenges the world faces today, like climate change, sustainable energy supply, and food security. Many plants can contribute to these issues, but the problem is that these plants are disappearing. The author directly ignored Kayamoto's history and connected the plight of plants and humans today. This illustrated the practical need humans have for plants. Only after setting this context did the story transition to Kayamoto. In their narrative, Kayamoto wasn't just a historic royal garden requiring significant funds to maintain its traditional beauty. It was a forward-looking organization holding the key to solutions that can help humanity address its challenges. It housed the world's largest plant database, top experts in the field, and established relationships with global research institutions. In this way, the author focused on the future, emphasizing the present and future relevance of Kayamoto, rather than its past. With this new story's help, not only did the UK government continue providing £20 million in funding, but they also allocated an additional £50 million for central projects. Observing this story, it's evident that the author is not only skilled at constructively using competitive truth but is also a master storyteller. They describe themselves as a storyteller and have been crafting stories for companies and government agencies for a decade. The author's understanding of storytelling and their method for crafting stories can also help us constructively utilize competitive truth. According to the author, a story is a selective, coherent narrative of a process of change, emphasizing the causal relationship between situations and events. This may sound unexciting, but it encapsulates 3 crucial elements: causal relationships, processes of change, and triggering events. These are the foundational elements of any story and are essential for its success. Causal relationships are the core of any story, the underlying basis. Without them, there's no story. The process of change is what makes a story engaging. Without change, there's no story. And triggering events are the initial cause of the change process. Armed with these 3 elements, let's delve into the story of Kayamoto. The triggering event of this story is the disappearance of plant species. The change process involves what Kayamoto will do to meet people's needs for understanding and protecting plants. For instance, they digitize their plant collection, guide international conservation efforts, and apply biodiversity resources to human well-being in development. The causal relationship here is that Kayamoto's work can make a better future for humanity. With this, we conclude the essence of Post-Truth Era. The core content of the book has been decoded for you. Today's interpretation only covered a portion of the book's content. If you're intrigued by competitive truth, you can pick up the book and delve deeper. Finally, I'd like to share a personal insight. I wonder how everyone felt after listening to today's interpretation. To be honest, when I first finished reading this book, I found it a bit heavy-handed. Every time I encountered a narrative, I treated it like a nail and thought about the potential for deception. Simply put, I was cautious about others' perspectives. I wasn't actively listening to what they wanted to express. I was always categorizing narratives as either fragmentary truths or subjective truths, trying to decipher the intent behind each statement. Overall, this left me quite perplexed. Later on, I came across a passage in a column about Western modern thought that suddenly cleared things up. I'd like to share it with you here, as it sheds light on the presence of different truths within various perspectives. It's not about erecting boundaries between ourselves and others, rather, it invites us to open up to different viewpoints, listen, understand, and learn. Similar to what the philosopher Nietzsche said in his treatise on morality, the more eyes we have, the better we see. The different eyes are how the same question gets illuminated. The more perspectives we consider, the more complete our concepts and objectivity become. So, this encapsulates the essence of the book. Congratulations on completing another book. Thank you for your support and attention. Please subscribe to the Tim Booker channel, the audiobook channel. Like and share with your family and friends. Wisdom is worth spreading, opening the door to a brighter future. Thank you, and goodbye.